Welcome to a new episode of Strikers Den, and today's topic is UFC 303, and we are going to discuss fan favorite MVP versus not very favorite Ian Machado Gary. I believe this fight could be just a main event, but it's not. Anyway, we will discuss today Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page. So, how this fight going to play? The funny thing is, you know that styles make fights, and these are two opposite styles which actually can beat each other. So it's not a really good fight for MVP or for Ian Garry as well. For Ian Garry, is a lot to lose because he already climbed the ladder. He's up top. He's waiting for his title shot, and he has taken this dangerous fight for himself. And if he loses the fight, of course MVP climbs the ladder, and Ian Garry will have to climb the ladder again. So a lot to lose for Ian and a lot to gain for MVP. So how this fight going to play? So let's have a look. Quick stats. So the height for both guys are same, 191, like 6'3". Both guys are really big guys, and I was basically thinking that Ian is slightly taller, but actually MVP and Ian both are same height. Weight of course is the same, but the main difference over here is the age. Ian is much younger guy, 26, and MVP is veteran. He's been in Bellator for a very long time. Everyone knows his style, how he fight anyway. So he's 37-year-old, and the funny again for reach, MVP has longer reach than Ian Garry. Again, something I wasn't expecting, but yeah, he has more reach than Ian Garry. So let's start from MVP. So what I think are the main strengths for MVP which actually makes him different from other fighters and which might win him the fight. He is unorthodox, which means he switch stances, lateral movement, stepping in really quick, going in and out, and he just surprises you with the attack. So that unorthodox style is very difficult to read, and that's what actually makes him very exciting, and he wins fight because of that style. Another strength, of course, because of his style, he's unpredictable. So he's 1 minute he's out of range, he's just with his karate style, he's very long, and suddenly he lunges in with a shot, and you're not expecting the fight, even though you know he's gonna shoot in, but you don't really know when, because he is very quick on the feet. He comes in and he goes out. So that he's being unpredictable. That is another thing which Ian Garry will have to look for, because if he's standing in front of him or he's trying to chase him, he will get caught. And another thing for MVP, he's set traps. He sometimes give his left leg, so people actually want to kick that leg, and then he counters from them. He might take the leg, he might block it, he comes with a cross, he catches people. So he is really good with setting up traps, so getting something out of the other fighter, and then basically he goes in again. So counter the counter. He's really good at setting the traps up and then countering. And again, if you remember his last fight versus Kevin Holland, he plays with your mind, which means that you are like playing outside. He touches you, he goes out. So what you end up by doing, so you end up by chasing him, and when you chase him, that's his game, because his lateral movement in and out. So sooner you're gonna chase him, he will counter you. He steps in really quick, he can knock you out. He does all that spinning elbows or kicks or whatever, he will catch you. So chasing MVP is not a good idea as well. So standing in front of him is not a good idea as well. So it's kind of in between those lines. You have to push in a controlled way, and then you have to know exactly, you have to maintain the distance and know exactly when he's shooting in. You should be able to counter him, and otherwise if you're not quick enough, you can't read him, so it's bad day for you. Plus, another strength, if I look at for MVP, actually I have written down over here so I don't forget, he's good with the timing as well. So he, as I said before, he sets traps. So which means you're gonna throw a kick, you're gonna throw a punch or whatever. Whenever you're throwing the strike with the timing, again, you're not gonna get tired, but definitely you will frustrate your opponent and you catch them eventually. And another main, I think, positive or strength for MVP is his movement. He can fight, of course, going forward. He can go backward, lateral movement. He can go in all direction and he can strike you. So that's why MVP is so exciting to watch. That's why everyone loves him. He can frustrate fighters and he will get them to do things which they shouldn't be doing. It frustrating them really works for him. So if I look for MVP weaknesses, what exactly he has weakness? So I believe that his strength is the weakness. I mean, he's very karate style. Your hands are low, which means that you sometimes he can be overconfident. He can, if he lose bit of concentration. When he was knocked out, he lost that bit of balance. He, because of his flashy styles, he lost the balance. He got caught with a beautiful shot and he got KO'd. So that is the main problem, that he, of course, even though he knows that he is on a karate style and people are gonna throw the right kicks, but the people who are good with throwing those low kicks, like I'm talking about Muay Thai guys, those sort of people, and if you present the leg, even though you're good at counter, they will actually chop your leg all day long. So, and Ian Garry is good with low kicks. So that is one weakness. I think he really need to be careful with giving, exposing his front leg. Of course, his hands are low as well. So Ian Garry, again, he is good with not only low kicks, he's also good with going up to the body, and he's also good with the head kick as well. He's also good with the left kicks. So because the hands low karate style over here, so left kick can come all day. So if Ian Garry is throwing more like a Thai style, all days golden age Thai style kicks, where it's not going around but it's going straight that way, which means when a MVP won't have enough time to counter because the kicks are really quick. So, but we don't know if Ian Garry will be throwing those sort of kicks, but he is good at those kicks. So let's see. And again, of course, I mentioned already again that while he go wide stance, which means that he can move, but yeah, it's open for low kicks. Also, another problem, I think showboating too much can be a problem as well. Even though sometimes showboating works for him because it frustrates your opponent, but if someone with a strong mind, if he doesn't really react to your showboating, which mean they can catch you. So these are few weaknesses from MVP which he knows, of course, but he need to really perform well in order to win against Ian Garry, because these two style clashes so much with each other that they can beat each other. Ian Garry's style is perfect to beat MVP, and MVP style is good to beat Ian Garry as well. So that's why this fight is very dangerous for both guys. So let's go for Mr. Ian Garry, Mr. Ian Machado Garry. What he is good at? He is good at long range as well, just like MVP. He is good at maintaining that distance. If you look his fights, normally he takes that half steps going backward, and if you come forward a bit, he takes a couple of steps back to create that distance and keep that distance where he can use long range hands, low kicks, body kicks, but very basic, very good fundamental when it comes to striking. That is for Ian Garry. So that's where I think the basic fundamentals will beat MVP. But of course, he needs to be careful when MVP shoots in, how he reacts. Either he stops him, he goes out, because if he goes back in a straight line, that is a problem with the Ian Garry. He can't go back straight line with the MVP, because when he fought Song, he went back straight line and he got caught. And when he take more risk, then he can get caught as well. So he needs to be really careful. Long range distance control is pretty good with, of course, as you mentioned already. Good with the kicks, I mentioned already. Another thing, of course, he is young, he's undefeated, he has good experience in the UFC, unlike MVP. He has experience, of course, in mixed martial arts, but not exactly in UFC. So let's see how he's basically gonna soak that all pressure. And well, another thing, Ian Garry good with the pushing forward. He doesn't rush in. He push forward, but with a control pressure, and that's what exactly you need against MVP. So you close him down, but you don't chase him. If you chase MVP, it's not going to work against him. So you have to close him down, but you have to be really controlled. And sooner he shoots in, you put your knees in, or you put your quick elbows in, you get him in the clinch, but you go off center line, because he sooner comes in, you should be able to see exactly which way he's coming. With the left hand he's coming with a kick, or he's coming with a cross. You should be able to work off center line, and then you get him in the clinch or elbow, whatever, cut him. I mean, that's what you need to do. And also Ian Garry good at the quick combinations as well. So again, if he corner him, he push him against the cage, he can, of course, do those quick combination, which will work against MVP as well. But as long he can actually close him down, which is, of course, easier than done. Okay, now comes to Ian Garry weaknesses. Grappling is unknown. We don't really know how good I personally don't know how good he is when it comes to grappling. So that something needs to be tested, but I don't know whether MVP will test his grappling. He is a known striker himself, so this fight, I think, he's not gonna go to ground, but let's see. Another thing with Ian Garry weakness, I think, which I feel like he don't really fight going backward. Whenever you push him back, he goes back in a straight line, so he doesn't go left or right. So he takes 2 half steps to keep that distance. But someone like MVP, that couple of steps, like when you step back, that might not work, because you might think, oh, you have taken the distance, but the MVP, he takes so much distance, he covers so much distance in those 2-3 steps. When he takes back, it might not be enough, because he can actually throw across and follow up with a hook. Those sort of things he can do. So he need to be really careful with maintaining that distance. He need to maintain that distance where he can throw his long range weapons, whether those are the kicks or the hands, but deal with in and out from MVP. That he needs to do. Again, what else I think is a weakness? It's not exactly weakness, but he's not a crowd favorite. Yeah, everyone knows, because of wife or marriage or whatever. I mean, I don't care, but the thing is, it's just the people. I mean, whatever they complain. But yeah, MVP, yeah, people love him. And Ian Garry, of course, is not crowd favorite, so of course people will be chanting for MVP. So how he's gonna react into that environment where everyone is supporting MVP? So let's see how that works out for him. So these are the few strengths and weaknesses, of course, from both guys. Now, what I think that how this fight going to play, I know that is a dangerous fight for both guys. A much to lose for Ian Garry than MVP. MVP, of course, is for him is much to gain. He can climb the ladder really quick. So, and of course, he's 37, so that win is necessary for MVP and for Ian Garry as well. But how this fight going to play? It's gonna be a close fight, but I am leaning slightly towards Ian Garry just because of his basic fundamental striking is pretty good, and I believe that he can maintain that distance and he can win on points. And if he goes for full 3 rounds, I think I'll give it to Gary. But of course, KO can happen, and I mean, of course, MVP has all the ability to KO Gary as well because he can surprise him. If he Gary get frustrated and go forward too much, push forward too much, he can get countered, or he is lazy and standing in front of MVP. That's gonna work, not gonna work for him as well. So he really, as I said before, that is he need to push forward but control where he need to use his low kick, jabs, low kick, change height, and catch him while he comes forward. So yeah, that is my take on Ian Garry versus MVP. I think Ian Garry wins this fight on points, but I'm not counting out MVP as well. So let the best man win the fight. Okay, please like, subscribe. If you want to see my training video, you can go through the channels. There are some on some videos on the live section, and some I just uploaded there as well. So you can see that how we train at KO and how we prepare for the fights. Anyway, it's enough for today, and thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you again. Bye.